like to call the order as far as the trustees that are here. Ken Zeb,
Yeah.
Carol Cahill,
Here.
Jack Ward,
Here.
Danielle Biggins,
Here.
and Carol Mahoney here. Janet, did I call you? Janet Kahn.
No, but I
Sorry.
know you're here, and it's Can. Get with it.
Can.
That's okay.
Remember Can.
It happens all the time.
It's pronouncing those A's, those long A's.
I only have one A, and there's only one A.
I know, but I make it longer than it's supposed to be.
That's only one, so.
Okay, the next we have is the approval of the minutes on December 8th, 2021. And Ken and I are not eligible to vote, but have the rest of the trustees had time to read? And do they have any comments for the minutes of December 8th? No?
Nope.
Okay,
Oh.
seeing none. Do I have a vote for the approval of the minutes on December 8th?
I make a motion.
Thank
Second.
you, Carol. Second, Jack. Okay, all those in favor? Just raise your hands. I think it's those that have to vote. Great. All right,
Okay.
the minutes are approved.
Roll call anyway, so.
So, and our next meeting is on Wednesday, February 9th, moving into good old February. So let's start with Liz's report. Liz, would you like to go through your report, please?
We have the statistics table at the top. I just noticed that on the first row, I usually have the percent change to the right, and I don't have that here. But we have an increase again. Circulation has been increasing over last year every month, so that's good. Seem to be getting back to normal in one respect anyway. Ebook usage still steady. Museum use is quiet right now, but I don't think that's too surprising. And especially now that the Boston museums have vaccine requirements, we'll see how many people are still using those passes. The door count and hours open are pretty normal. We're still tracking the number of hours when we have to close the children's room because we're short-staffed. It was 6 hours in December. Keeping an eye on that. Any questions on anything in this part?
Liz, do you want to talk about, didn't the Board of Library Commissioners make a decision because of the current COVID decision about the hours and things for libraries?
Yep, the hours open requirement is waived again until April of this year, just like it was last year. So
Okay.
we're still meeting our requirement anyway, but we'll see if we need that flexibility. Hopefully not.
And have you seen any hours reduced in the area libraries?
Yeah, Whitman is closed again. I think they have a really conservative health agent, and that's why. I know that when they were closed before, the conditions that they had to meet to reopen were really strict. So they're back to curbside only. That's the only place I know of so far.
Okay.
Who's that? I missed it. I'm sorry. Which one?
Whitman.
Oh, because I thought Abington was closed.
Oh,
For
not that I'm.
it might have been just for 1 minute. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
No,
Not that I know of, but I'll check.
Oh, okay.
So the rest of the report, Liz?
For now, things are the same as they have been. We still have WIC here. Book groups are still meeting in person. We're still doing take and make crafts. We'll see what changes with any of that. We had no class visits this month. We had a drain problem again last month. I think it was the day after our meeting. Our bathroom drains backed up again, and we ended up closing the building for that afternoon. Once the drain company gets here, because they're so used to coming here now, it's pretty quick for them to clean it out. We just have to wait for them to get here usually. And then it actually happened again right when we came back from our holiday break. So January 2nd, I think. So we're waiting on that fix. Hopefully that comes soon.
Liz, I have a question. Is there any kind of material that they're pulling out of those drains? Is something plugging it up?
No, they think it's dirt from like outside the pipes getting washed in because the pipe is broken. So dirt from outside it is getting pulled in, and that's what's causing the clog.
Do they know the location of the break?
Yes, they think it's outside under the parking lot.
Oh, no, no.
A new asphalt parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
No.
that's what they said, near that drain, like in the middle of the parking lot. It's definitely outside the building. That's part of what takes a while. When there's a clog, they have to wait for the truck with the really long snake because it's farther out than their regular snakes will reach.
Are we on the
I have a
list?
question. Is this going to be the permanent solution when we have a problem? We just call them in? Or
So
look
we're waiting.
on for the pipe
Um,
fix?
Yeah, we're waiting on a fix. The highway or Dave Taylor was going to come this morning with a camera company. He needs to go down and figure out, like, there's a drain in the elevator pit and that backs up. And he doesn't know how it's connected to the other drains. He needs to figure that out before they can fix it. He was planning to do that this morning and he ended up having to push it to next week. So after that gets done, we'll know a little bit more. But we are waiting on a real fix.
Oh,
Liz,
that's-
does this have a relationship to the other pipe that's over by the children's bathrooms?
Yeah, they are connected. So we're not using those two bathrooms on the first floor right now, the children's one and the staff bathroom inside the children's room. But even after we had stopped using those two, we had another backup after that this month. So it's hopefully helping a little, but it's not helping enough.
Sounds like the whole system is a mess.
Yes, yeah, it's the original pipes between those old bathrooms.
So is this an area where this is not the area where they've talked about digging the floors?
I guess there must be also a broken pipe there, but then
Oh,
also
geez.
outside, I guess. Or the clog happens outside. Maybe that's not where the break is. There seems to be a break definitely under the floor, but the clog happens outside under the parking lot. So I don't know if they'll have to dig up the parking lot to fix it.
God.
Daily-
Ken,
Yeah, our daily usage, I might sound a little funny here, but do 100 people use the bathrooms or do 200 people use the bathroom?
I don't
I
think
mean,
it's,
I don't
doesn't
think
seem
it's
to-
large. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's large, but we're backing up with very little water.
yeah, the times when it happens makes it seem like it's not like a function of use. It's
Usage.
just, yeah. I think
It's just a condition.
break.
probably the condition of the pipes.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. In other words, okay.
And is Dave Taylor's intent is to locate where the breaks are?
Yes, I think so. He needs to figure out how all the drains are connected and exactly where the breaks are. So he's coming with a camera company next week. That will help.
Okay.
He's attending to it.
Yes.
Jack?
Oh, yeah, it's getting worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it cost to have the company come out to unclog the drain?
So far, it's been like $400 or $500 each time.
Okay,
And
thank
we
you.
have about 6 times they've been out.
At least 4, I think.
So, yeah.
I
we
know it
spent
seemed, it
2,500.
seemed like more times, but I went back through all my reports. And I think it's been, I think at the most 4 times. But the last 2 were disconcertingly close together.
Okay. So next week, Dave will be out with the company and the cameras to try to
Yes.
find the areas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
All
and
right.
he's had the, he's been by with the contractor who will be doing the work. I'm just not sure when it will start yet.
Liz, is Doug Lapp aware of this as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Um,
Go ahead.
Okay. So that was the only building issue that I have listed here. There's a mask order from the Board of Health for town meeting rooms. It started last month. So that's the only order for masks. Everything else is a recommendation. But we are encouraging masks everywhere. We're back to all virtual meetings. The town meetings are virtual now, in addition to the OCLN ones. Yeah, I mean, our like department meetings, not town
Oh,
meetings.
I was gonna say, because Don has a meeting next week and they didn't say it should be virtual. So, okay.
Oh, yeah, I guess some boards, it's up to the boards, I guess.
Okay.
But our department head meetings are back online. I made a deposit to the general fund. In December, it was for fines and I think just fines, no damaged books on that one, $154.99. Any questions on anything else on here?
Yes.
Jack,
I'd like to talk about masks a little bit. The people that are coming into the library, for the most part, are they wearing masks?
I would say I think most people are. And we all are. So when they see us, they usually put one on or ask if they're supposed to be wearing one. And we offer them to everyone.
So it's only the community room that's required, not the general building
Yeah,
by the Board of Health. Oh,
yes. And I did ask some questions when that came out. Like I said, we have kids in our meeting rooms, which I don't think they were obviously thinking about. I think it seems like they were maybe wrote that with town hall in mind, I'm guessing. And like we have people meet in other areas of the building besides the meeting room. So I asked if people should be wearing masks in those situations and they said yes. We're encouraging it everywhere.
any other comments? Jack, go ahead.
What's the school department doing? Anybody know?
The state mask order is extended, right, Carol?
Yeah, we're mandated, and the only way we could stop is if we get 80% vaccination rate. I think that you have to prove 80% vaccination rate in your school before, I believe.
I
But
read that.
as of now, it's mandated in the school,
So
anything in the school.
So everyone working within the school wears a mask and the students are wearing masks?
Yes,
And all athletes, anything that happens in a school building, athletes and spectators as well.
Yeah.
It's a DESI regulation, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, should we consider making masks mandatory at the library? You know, because this version of Omicron, I know people that have been vaccinated, you know, 3 times, and they've got COVID, no
Right.
exposure. Now their symptoms were minimal, but they were still positive.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Can we
not
do
going
that?
away.
Can we do that as trustees or do we have to go by the Board of Health?
You can, I think. It just seems to me before, like, if people who were inclined to argue about it would argue with you if they knew you were the one making the decision. That's why I think people are hoping a mandate will come down from the state or the town, but neither of those has happened.
You know,
I
Is
also
it
talked to this, oops, sorry,
I just was gonna ask, is it required at town hall or just in the meeting rooms?
it's not required. It's just at the meeting room, it's required by the Board of Health. It's encouraged everywhere.
So if you
else,
were
but
going
not
in to pay a bill or something, you're not required to wear a mask?
required. Right.
well, I went into town hall today and there's clearly signs saying masks are preferred and everyone in town hall working was wearing a mask. So I think they're trying to enforce it the best that they can, similar to what we had before, until a mask mandate comes down on that aspect.
Which it
So
doesn't
Liz-
sound like it's going to.
No, but Liz, even within the children's room, would you say that the I mean, I've been in there a couple of times the past couple of weeks and what have you, and the only observance I saw was a woman that was sitting at a table doing some work. She had taken her mask off, but she was certainly didn't have anybody around her. But I had observed everybody else had a mask on.
Yeah, I think most people do. I can check with the staff to make sure
Mhm.
if you want, but I think most people do.
I mean, from my point of view, I'm in favor of nobody gets in the building without a mask. Because I know people in the medical profession right now, the emergency rooms in all parts of the country and even in the state are jammed.
Right.
Out in Cleveland, I have a niece who works in an emergency room. They're out of morgue space.
Yeah.
Now, this is it's not good.
Unfortunately, I agree with you, Jack, that it requires the staff to become police, and if you don't have the Board of Health behind you, it's a fine line. I totally agree with you. We should require it, but I'm not sure that there would be any teeth in it for a certain amount. Look at the Braintree School Department, school committee meeting. They had to stop it. 2 of the school committee members refused to wear masks at the meeting in the building.
You know, just to bring this home, the raffle for the Christmas tree for the Friends,
Yeah.
the woman who proposed that we put lottery tickets on that Christmas tree, Pat Smith, died from COVID a couple of weeks ago because she did have medical issues, but and she was vaccinated.
Yeah. And careful.
And unfortunately, it killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that we're seeing that the rise of the latest variant is having a big impact on. Thankfully, people are not getting as sick related to it. But I think, as Janet said, I think until we have the health department or even the state coming down with a mask mandate like they have in the schools, the best way we couldn't enforce it anyway. We'd have to have somebody stand by the door in order to get people coming in. But I think the best way is to continue to put as many signs as you have done in the past, Liz, around. And if staff notice people, say, here's a mask. We would prefer you wear a mask. Because once they do become the police, that's when it just kind of.
It's not fair to them. They don't get
It
paid.
blows up on them. And that's unfortunate. And we should have a mask mandate. Well, each one of us thinks differently on that one. So Liz, can you talk to the staff and say
Yeah, I'll
that we could
see.
be we could be more vigilant?
Yep, I'll see if they think there's enough people who aren't wearing them, but we do have them available in all areas of the building, and we do have a lot of signs. I think that most people do, but I'll check and make sure.
Okay. All right. And
Yeah,
as
I
soon as
think I've
something
been
comes
in-
through, it would be nice to hear. Go
I've
ahead,
been in
Dan.
the library with and without a mask, just thinking about like in terms of like the summer, the fall, and even like the beginning of the winter. In the summer, I'd say my kids and I probably didn't wear a mask, and maybe even in the beginning of the fall. And then as things started to uptick and the landscape started to change, we definitely wore them more in places like the library and public spaces. But I would hate to see the staff be put in an uncomfortable situation to be forcing people to wear masks or even handing them out. I think you guys, Liz, have done a great job having so much signage everywhere and having masks available. So like if I went in and didn't have a mask and realized like, oh shoot, I meant to put one on, like there's so many spots that you can already grab one. So I think people who want to wear a mask will feel comfortable just grabbing one because they're so readily available.
Yes,
Okay, any other? Well, if there were any other updates that do come through, Liz, just shoot us a message about it. If there are any changes, because it's not going to go away. It's really going to get a little worse for the next few weeks on this aspect. So.
Yeah, and I wonder if the Board of Health will do anything different.
I'm hoping.
Okay. Liz, the financials?
You can read the numbers on this file. We're just over halfway through the year, and we're at almost 51% of overall spending. Does anyone have any questions on anything on this report?
Any questions on the budget? No, seeing none. Thank you. Ken, Zeb,
On December 1st, we had a balance of $122,197.29. On December 31st, we received $31.13 at 0.03%, bringing our total to $122,197.29. Our available new balance for expenditure is 5,000, we broke 600, $630.62. So we added $31.13.
Could you repeat the amount?
One more time, I just wanted to point this
Yeah,
out.
we-
I've gone, I think 5 months now, and I have not, oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 months, and I haven't received a bill again for anything.
Zeb, would you mind repeating that amount of money that's available? I missed it.
Oh, the available amount is $5,630.62.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah, Liz, I was wondering, Ken, also why we haven't seen any expenditures.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, if they're not sending them over to us, but it's been, I know, and Nina has sent me, I believe, 2 bills, you know what I mean, that it's supposed to be coming my way. And, you know, we're starting, as of December, I haven't received, the last thing that we paid out was in August, 304 back, you know.
Mhm.
We put the money in, we had to give them back the money, that very confusing time. But since then, we haven't paid for anything.
Liz, do you have an expectation that some of them are coming through? Oh, she's on mute.
Sorry about that. I knew I would forget. We had let some of our newspaper subscriptions lapse, and then we restarted them like almost all at the same time. So I'm wondering if that's why, but I'll check. I know we were trying to get an invoice from the Globe, and I'm not sure if we ever did. I will check on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Okay. Next is the review of the departmental bills that were paid. Any comments, Liz?
I don't have anything. Does anyone have any questions?
Any
No.
questions? Okay. Seeing none. The next item of business is the COVID update. Do you have any further things to discuss?
I need to check whether I think the town is going to change its like return to work protocol to match the new CDC protocols. And now I really need to know, someone just called at 5 o'clock. One of their kids tested positive. So this is our first immediate brush. So I will check on what they need to do. The town was also looking at maybe implementing a vaccine mandate, but it will depend on what happens with the case that's before the Supreme Court now, the OSHA mandate. So if that gets overturned, I don't think the town will be pursuing that. We'll have to see what happens.
Excuse me, do you mean for employees or anyone entering public buildings or?
Oh, employees, sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. I just want to clarify.
And have we had any, you're just saying that for the first time tonight, someone's identified a COVID infection, but
Yeah.
the staff otherwise has been very healthy?
Yes, this year we haven't had any cases, so I'm knocking on my wooden desk again.
So Liz, what is the procedures now in dealing with this that you
If-
will go through?
if we are going by the CDC mandate protocols, I was just looking, if the close contact is vaccinated, they don't necessarily have to miss work. So we will see. I think they're going to get tested just to make sure. So we'll hopefully know tomorrow the results of their test.
You're saying a child is positive,
Yes.
okay, and has been at the library and in contact with everyone.
No.
No,
Staff.
the staff
members.
member's child.
Ah, got it, okay.
Yeah. So our staff person is a close contact.
And do we have any tests available for staff for free through the town?
We did get some from the town, like right before the holidays, and so people might have used them then. So we might be able to get a few more. We'll have to check.
I think that'd be important. The person shouldn't have to, pay for it if possible.
Yes.
So
I
Liz,
think they might be able to get one. Oops,
I
sorry.
just want to mention too, I'm an administrator at preschool and I do all of the COVID stuff at our preschool. And so the guidance too for vaccinated individuals is to test on day 5. So if the child tested, unless they're experiencing symptoms, if the child tested positive today or yesterday and the parent tests today or tomorrow, there's a high likelihood that that person could test negative and then in 5 days test positive.
Mm.
I just want you to keep it in mind. I know what the CDC guidance is, but I've been doing this a ton at work, and we actually just had COVID go through 4 of the 5 people in our house between Christmas and New Year's, and several of us tested negative before we tested positive. So it was like every 2 or 3 days, somebody else was symptomatic and tested positive. So just make sure she follows some good guidance, because I would hate for her to think that she's good and then come back and then you have to deal with multiple staff being out because this variant seems to be spreading so quickly.
Yes. Well, that goes to Jack's point that it absolutely is spreading faster.
Yep. We'll definitely err on the side of caution to try to avoid that.
Okay.
So that's my update. Nothing official yet.
Okay. Let's move on to the building updates. Any other items besides the plumbing?
Yes, we covered that one. That's the big one. We haven't gotten any more water in the children's room lately, which is good. I have ordered the furniture for the workroom, which is really exciting. It looks like it should come in March. So I'll try to line up all the other parts of the job for March, the contractor and the floor company. But it could get done that soon.
That's such good news. Thank you.
Yes.
You have a
Um,
contractor?
What'd you say?
Yours.
Sorry. Yeah, your guy.
All right, I didn't know. I wasn't at the last meeting. Oh, good.
Yes.
Keep drinking at the Eagles, Zeb. It's good. It's
No,
good
I
work.
drink water.
Thank God.
Whatever you're drinking, keep it up.
Go ahead, Liz.
Sorry. The sign, there's a little more progress on the outside sign. We have all the letters. We just need to get out there. Hopefully there's enough snow melted around it. I think so, that we can put the hours back up in the sign. We have all the letters now.
Good.
So I think that actually might be finished. I'll have to check.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Another project that's gone on for a long time.
Yes.
Liz, will Amos Phelps be sent a letter of thank you for that, or?
Oh, sure. Yep.
I think it'd be, they paid for it. It's been 2 years, but still.
Yes.
Sure, they haven't forgotten it. Maybe they have forgotten, who knows, but anyway,
I will do that.
thank you.
I think that's all I have on the building. Any questions on any building stuff?
Any comments, questions? No? Seeing none? Okay, let's move on to the 23 budget update.
I had a meeting this week on Monday, just to go over our initial request. But I think we're on track. They didn't bring up any issues. I think it sounds like we're in good shape to get what we requested, which was just about a 2.5% increase to our bottom line.
Was that with Doug, just to clarify?
Yep, with Doug and Jen, the assistant town administrator and the town accountant.
Thank
And
you.
when do you anticipate going before the finance committee or the selectmen? I know he has to
think-
submit the budget to them, but
Yeah, last year it was in March, so I don't know if it will be in March again this year or the timeline's different. But that's what I would guess, March.
okay. Are there any
Yeah, I guess-
questions
We
related
usually
to the
try-
budget?
we
Go ahead,
usually try
Janet.
to Support, but I don't know if that'll work this year, Liz. We usually have all gone to support you in the budget, but
Yeah, last year we were on Zoom. I guess there's a good chance we will be again, although I don't know if they are back on Zoom.
okay.
But if you want to come on Zoom, that
Let
would
us
be
know
great.
if you
Well,
want, it's always.
Yeah, I think it's
we're
worthwhile.
here for- Support you, to support you.
Yes.
I think the
Okay.
first time we walked in with Bev, they were like, whoa, the trustees are here. Because it hadn't, happened. That was years ago, my
Oh,
first.
it's
year.
unusual. Yeah,
It was at that point, but we want to support you anyway.
thank you.
And the state aid update is next.
Yes, our award was certified in December, I think. So I'm not sure whether we've received our first payment yet, but we will be. The first one will be about $17,000, and then the second one will come in the spring. So we will be getting about $34,000 altogether. Any questions?
And a portion of that is going to pay for Old Colony's membership,
Yep, about
Which-
21,000.
about 21,000. Okay. And so that we have additional funds in there if there is a need that we could use them for. Yeah, okay. All right. Question, anything else coming on from the BLC? I mean, I noticed their message about the hours and what have you.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything else.
Okay. All right, thank you. The next item is employment contracts and salaries. And this is kind of an initial conversation because when I finish with my report, I think you'll would like to invite the town administrator to come to a meeting next month. Liz and I met on Zoom with Doug, the assistant town manager, Jen, and Chrissy, no, the
Stacy.
Stacy, the human resource manager. And the question that has come up is the 3 contracts that we currently have at the library for our employees. That's the director, the reference librarian, and the youth services librarian. And the question is not related to whether the trustees have any right to have contracts with these employees. Doug was very clear in having talked with town council also that we absolutely have a right to have these contracts in place with our employees. We have a little more of a standing on that too, that there is a mass general law that covers libraries employees and the implementation of contracts. But the question that Doug has been raising throughout the town is the fact that there are individual employment contracts in some of the departments. And so therefore it's kind of like herding cats to try to figure out personnel costs because some of them have been put together in a very different manner. And how they get increases is different from another department. If there's a percentage increase in a salary schedule, that's different. So Doug's attempt is to kind of eliminate the individual employment contracts while ensuring that the employee stays whole where they may be, but also that they have a better control over what the personnel costs would be. Similar to how that they do with the union. If they go in and they have a union, they go in, they go through contract negotiations, they come out on the other side, and there's a decision that year 1 is X, year 2 is Y, and year 3 is XYZ right there. So that's what he's they don't have a salary schedule for like a management skill, our employees. But they're looking to the idea of having some types of schedules. So Liz and I sat down and discussed this with the three of them, and came to the agreement that we would bring it to the trustees for their review. Liz sent a salary schedule to all of you that was developed over the years, and it deals with all three positions. We have, as I said, every right to have a contract with these individual employees, as we have had for many years in some cases. But the only thing that they're finding some difficulty is if we give employees a percentage increase, and that's not what the rest of the town has received, that there's an inequity in that. And the conversation is, then whose responsibility is that to pay for that different increase? So that's what the question is. And the way we left it, Liz and I left it, was the fact that I told Doug I would appreciate for him to come and explain exactly what he is thinking about, where he wants to go with this, and explain it to the board, because I thought it was better for him to say in his own words exactly what it is that they are trying to achieve. And then the board can make the decisions, which he was agreeable to. And we had, there was no sense of like, well, you have to do this and this is the way it has to go. He just gave, he recognized the role of the trustees. He recognized that we've had them for a long time, but he is just trying to get a better handle overall on personnel costs. And if the decision ultimately is going to be ours, there's no time frame on this, but certainly before, I think he would want to say before we go into next year's budget year, so before town meeting in May, to have some type of a decision what our personnel costs are going to be for these particular employees. An example also would be the fact that these employees have been seeing 3% increases where the rest of the town at this point has been at 2%. We didn't answer one way or the other as far as whether that was appropriate, inappropriate, or needed to be equitable. We said we would bring it to the trustees for their review and discussion on how this all was established. So, Liz, would you like to add any comment to this in the meeting?
No, nothing,
I have a
nothing else
question.
I can think of at the moment.
Yes,
Yep.
Carol.
Is the library unique? Are we the only institution in the town that has employees who are in a contract with a board? Are all of the other employees contracted just by the town?
Interesting question. There was an employee in the fire department, and that person seemed to be, the contract was with the fire chief. So some of them have been that way as far as within independent other departments, it has been with the department head. Not necessarily, well, the chief doesn't have a board as oversight. So there have been individual contracts in the other departments. Liz, do you know of any other difference? Because that was the one that, go ahead.
I think the department that's like structurally most similar to us is the assessors. So there's a board of assessors. And I think the assessor had a contract with the board before. So now I don't know if they still do.
They have been going slowly through when they've seen these various contracts and discussing it with the, certainly the person that has been signing the contracts, but also the employee, and working out something that was, the employee doesn't lose anything at all, but the contract goes away. So that's where we are at this particular point. Liz is kind of on hold right now because of where her anniversary date is for an increase. But we can talk to Doug about that at a meeting. If I think it would be beneficial for him also to come to make his particular points on why they're moving in this direction.
Agree.
Discuss, yeah, any other questions?
He can hear our views as well, if, once he explains
Yes.
his.
Well, we discussed the idea of how, you know, if you're within one of the union contracts, that's a salary schedule that will carry you out for a particular number of years. So you as an employee have an indication of where you will go if all things go well with a performance evaluation and you're, you know, here for the year and where you're going to go the next year. And there is no currently a salary schedule for, say, management types like the youth services librarian is and the reference librarian, or that professional level that they happen to be at. But the HR is trying to work in that direction, and they've been doing some other classifications of employees so that they're aware of it and they want to move toward it. I don't get the feeling that our employees would be left behind, or that I know in the past, and we did bring up the past, that there was not an acknowledgement of the library employees and what they, where they should be and what they should be receiving for their salaries. I didn't get any indication that that would in any way not be the consideration at all. They really did think that the employees would, you know, be as whole as they've been and continuing, but to do without the contract. And the contract is no different also as far as the town benefits. The contract doesn't, Liz, correct me on this, the contract doesn't give any more benefits than what the town already does it?
I think it does, but they're making them the same. They have been
They-
changing things that were different.
But as far as like vacation days and sick days, our employees
Yes.
are following the towns.
No, they
Situation.
historically have been like individually determined, so they're in
Okay,
the process
so-
of changing them all now. Yep.
On that, yeah,
Mhm.
so. But they did make it clear that the employees were not going to lose. That, you know, there would not be a loss for them, either salary or the benefits on what they would have. And the fact of the matter is, it's the town that takes care of all the benefits and pays for the benefits as far as health insurance and other things and things like that, so.
Carol, I have a question. What about elected officials? Are they able to go their own way? And
Oh, I have no idea.
certain officials do not have to answer to the town manager.
Well, within the town's organization, the trustees are not, the organizational chart, we are as elected officials, you know, on the organizational chart, the town administrator has his own responsibilities, but we as elected officials, it's quite different on that
Yep.
aspect. So
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the town clerk, the town treasurer, people who are elected.
it's a question to ask
Yeah,
Doug
Okay.
on those. You know, because I'm sure the superintendent of schools has a contract and probably the fire chief and the police chief. And I'm not aware of that there are other ones too. Now, whether or not,
everyone. in the
the fire department and the police department certainly are union. So that's how a lot of those, and certainly the superintendent of school, same way. That's how those are
Yeah,
moved along. So I think it's a worthwhile discussion to have with him and to invite him, not this week, but to invite him to come.
is that what we're doing? We're inviting him?
I think we should invite him to the February meeting to make his case. And then I think we will be able to, I think Liz can send out copies of what a contract currently looks like so that beforehand, so that we could review it and go over it and then make a informed decision based on having listened to Doug and what he wants to achieve and what we want to achieve for our employees.
Okay.
So,
I guess the question I have is when he says our employees won't be left behind, that's all well and good, but if we're contracting them and control what's in the contract, we can assure that. We just have to take him on good faith that he's going to treat our employees as the way we do.
yes. And we discussed that. That's one reason contracts came into being.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I don't trust
Yeah.
him, but I'm saying that's why you
Yeah,
have a contract. So
exactly.
you can say, okay, for these 3 years, I know this, you can plan both fiscally and for whatever reason.
Well, and I think that that's also goes to the point of some of the other employees who have switched now and got rid of their own contracts. you know, if a new town administrator comes in, things could change. And, you know, that's where if they had salary schedules that related to everybody that was within the town, that establishes for them some security
Right.
on their salaries. So Carol, I think you're absolutely right in asking those questions.
And it seems like a nothing thing, but to retain quality employees, I mean, if I were going for a new job, that's the kind of stuff I'd be looking for. So some sense of security.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. Well, it's a salary and it's a benefits package. And to ensure that you're competitive with the other communities around you, absolutely. So if the board is agreeable, we'll invite Doug to attend our February meeting, and he can be the first order of business so that we can have a discussion, and we'll get as much information out to you so you can see where we are on our contracts and also the dates of when they may be expiring, and also the salary schedules, which Liz did send. But to include a whole package and talk about this. And I'll actually ask Doug if there's anything that he might want to, a narration or something about what they may have done already that he would like to include so we can have it before the meeting.
Great.
Liz, is there anything else that we should review about that?
No, I think that covers it pretty well.
Okay. All right. All right. So next is the director's evaluation.
God, is that time again?
It's that time again. Everyone within their package, if hopefully the second time Liz sent it out, everybody received the evaluation form. I would appreciate it if you would take some time to go over it, make your comments, and then if you want to bring it back to the library and leave it. Liz, could we leave it for Lena?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
put
how
it
it
in-
usually works.
Yeah.
And an unnamed envelope.
Yes,
Right.
usually you get
Yeah.
a printed copy. So if you want, we can print a copy for you to pick up and
I got it.
return.
Oh, I printed mine right off.
I printed
Oh,
mine
okay.
too.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
got one. Well, just put it in a blank and give it
Yeah,
to.
so if people can just put it in an envelope and then leave it for Lena, just put director's evaluation. Well, yeah, no,
Just
just
leave
put
it for
director's
Lena.
evaluation on it.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fine. And then we will pull them all together.
When's it due?
Before the next meeting, so I don't have my
Okay.
calendar. Yeah,
Okay.
before the next meeting, so I can pull that together. When we were discussing with Doug and others the other day, I did point out that this evaluation form needs to be updated yesterday. And particularly, I mean, the library is unique in a lot of the things that it does as related to other departments. They have their unique skill sets also. Dave Taylor is going to have a different skill set than Liz necessarily has. But as you can see, the biggest thing that I see within this, one of the biggest things that's lacking is technology. I mean, technology is the backbone of the library at this particular time. And libraries have been so good at integrating it into working with the staff, but also the community. And the library during the whole COVID situation and closing and opening and assisting people did an outstanding job. And please make comments that relate to other aspects also for Liz on this, particularly with the technology, because there's no real space in which to do it, to acknowledge it. And as I've said, it's as integral as all the other utilities that we have, because that's exactly what it is on what we do. And also that relates to, community development and other things that we've done. But also I think that if you think that there are goals that we should think about for the year, to have conversations with Liz about, I think that would be very good for all of us to bring up in a discussion on this. There was a point made that they thought that Jen, the assistant town manager, would be a good resource also to participate in the evaluation for Liz. And my own point of view on that is she meets with Jen, every 2 weeks, Liz? Is that? Yeah,
Yes.
every 2 weeks. And that certainly, I think, is a future good idea. If the performance evaluation tool looks at Liz in the same way that the other town department heads, you know, and the skill sets that you need also need for being a town department head, being in charge of a building. I mean, we have within here the building and what have you, but Liz's role as a library director is very much like the other town department heads that are in charge of a building and have other outside connections and commitments. So this form, the HR department recognized that they need to do some revisions on it at some point in time. And so I don't think that having Jen's involvement at this point is really going to be that beneficial for us to do this. So I think for this year, we can just say, I will say, thank you very much, but we're going to move ahead right now. So Liz, you look questioning.
Sorry, I was just looking to see this form. I think, I'm not sure who developed it, but this form I don't think is from the town.
But it has been going back to them. So I think at some point they may have reviewed it or looked at it, but
Okay.
whatever form we may use. And then
This form's been around for 9 years.
Yeah. So
Beverly could have made this form, you know.
yeah. So
Been around for a long time.
something else needs revision on this aspect. So yeah, if you could just get these in, this would be great. And then I'll follow through with compiling them.
And we have a date certain. Do you want this by Monday, January 31st, no later than?
Sounds good, Jack. Yes.
Okay.
Monday, January 31st, no later than.
Will we be discussing this at the next meeting? Will it be on the agenda at that point?
It will be on the agenda. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, it will be. Okay.
Let me know if you want a printed copy. If you're not able to print it yourself or don't want to, I'll get you one.
Great. Yes. Just contact Liz.
Yes.
And then you can always also just leave it on Lena's desk, which is the first desk just in front of the office if she doesn't happen to be there, but she's usually around. Okay. Anything else on the director's evaluation? I think we're all set. Okay. Liz, the upcoming meetings and what have you.
I should mention here, I'm working on the annual report right now for the town. So Carol, I will get you a draft as soon as I can, but if anyone has anything that they want covered or mentioned in the report, let me know and I'll make sure it's in there.
If you need photos, or sometimes we've done group photos of us.
No.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But
No.
if you want just library photos or
Yeah.
something to put in, email me and I could send you whatever.
Okay, I have
Well-
a couple that you've sent me this year of like when we have the tulips
Yeah.
out front.
Like the tulips, or, you know, like if we're not going to be in it, we should have something, you know.
Well, Ken, thank you very much. But agreeing with Janet, I had made the suggestion that we probably have a picture of some activity at the library,
Right,
the
that's what I'm
library,
saying.
instead of the board. If
Right.
anybody really is missing out on having their picture taking, standing in the children's room, you know,
And carolers, the take and make that the staff has worked so
well,
hard
the
on.
take and makes have been
Right.
great.
The
Beautiful. pictures.
bags that
That's
go
enough.
out, everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Ask
Anyway.
them if we can have the cover.
Well, they will
Try
decide
submitting.
when to submit it. You can ask. That would be a beautiful picture with the Christmas tree on the front cover.
Yeah, we have
yeah.
a few good options from this
I
year.
want
Yeah.
that, I want that to be note cards. I already-
Well, also the one of the tomatoes and the
Oh,
garden
that
was
would
pretty
be,
good.
that was great.
So,
Got a little montage anyway.
Yeah.
yes. Yes. Okay, so Liz, the upcoming meetings?
As far as I know, the Friends are meeting on the 25th. That's all I know of so far.
But they're also going through Zoom. They're doing
Yes,
Zoom. Yeah.
they've
they're
still been
doing
on Zoom all along. Yep.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments, suggestions from the trustees?
No, I
So,
can't-
I do have one. Okay, after
Okay.
this meeting, I think I want to just make sure I heard what I heard. Sounds like by May, Memorial Day, that our driveway drainage system should be repaired. And by Memorial Day, the upstairs workroom should be repaired. Am I on the right schedule?
I think the workroom should be done unless we run into a huge snafu with the delivery of the furniture. The drainage, I don't know a timeline, but I hope it will be done by then.
Okay, all right, and there is nothing bigger, there's not a compressor we have to replace, or
Not yet.
it's bigger?
Not that,
Not
not that I know
like
of.
any doors that we need to into, okay, all right,
No, our doors are okay for now.
Right.
I'm just trying to get an overview of time.
Stop
And my-
looking for problems.
I know.
yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Oh, I want,
Don't
I
mention
want a
it.
couple of them fixed.
Well, why don't we add the
Working on
fascia,
it.
why don't we add the
I was
fascia
looking
board?
for Christmas at one point.
I know.
I
That's
think by
on
then,
Justin's list.
yeah, Justin's list, the fascia board certainly could be done by then. But to go back to just one question, Liz, I presume that the water that's in the children's room, they will think about digging up the front in the spring.
Yes, I don't know if there's a point this year at which it's no longer possible. I know I think they're still digging at town hall. So I don't know if
Yes, they
if
are.
They are.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't know if it's still possible to start another project after that, or if we'll be on hold until the spring, but.
No, we'll be on
hopefully
hold
we'll
and-
be-
Did they
Yeah.
have a leak at town hall, Liz?
I don't think it was a leak, I think, but it is like an outdoor drainage thing, right, Carol?
it's all
I don't
dug
know.
up.
I don't
It's-
know if it's
yeah.
for drainage. It used to be just a one grade down like this. They've turned it into some levels and
Yeah.
put a little seating area. I don't know if it's for a form or function.
I was hoping
Or
it wasn't
both.
cosmetic considering the library leaking like crazy here.
Mhm.
I assume there was some functional
I'm
purpose.
serious, Liz, I'm serious. Anyway, I hope. It'll get done. David's good.
Well, let's not bring any more troubles
Yeah.
onto us. We have enough to handle at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call for adjournment at 6:55. All those in favor of adjourning for the evening until next month? Let's just raise our hands, folks. I think we can.
Don't we
Yeah.
have to have a motion?
Yeah,
Does
do
somebody
we
have
get
to
a
move?
motion for the
Oh,
I'll
minutes?
make a
okay. I'm
motion.
sorry. I took a month off.
I'll make
Okay,
the
do you hear a
motion.
motion? So Ken made
I
a motion,
second.
Carol seconded, and all those in favor? Yes, yes. And stay healthy, stay warm.
Yes, and give
Yeah.
our thanks to John.
Oh, yes, yes.